Go. What is up, all you freaks out there? Another Sunday edition of the freaking awesome Paranormal Show.
That is right.
What is going on, buddy?
Oh, nothing much. Just sucking down the lifeblood to stay up at this hour.
I know, right? This ungodly hour of 8 o'clock where you are and 9 o'clock where I am. Sounds like God. Oh, jeez. So this is Ryan, by the way. See, it says right there on the little thing right there. Ryan. This is my co-host over there, CR.
Howdy.
We're here to bring you some awesome. And there's our other co-host in the chat over there. Rhonda is in the chat. She helps out. When I send out the freak signal, she helps out when CR can't come on. We've got our music show coming up here. I think we're gonna move it back a week because Jade, because we have National Ghost Hunting Days next week. So there's a lot of different investigations going on. And Rhonda has Sage Paracon at Belgrove Plantation. And I've got an investigation at the cabin that weekend. So I think we might do it the weekend after, which gives me more of a chance to find songs. I've been slacking. I have not even thought about it.
What was the theme for this
Halloween
month? Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. You'd think. I want to do something, different. I want to put Thriller and Ghostbusters on there.
Right.
All of us would put Thriller and Ghostbusters on. There's one song that it's like
songs. That's good night, folks. We'll see you later.
That's right. It's like very, very short episode of the freaking awesome playlist. So what'd you deal at yesterday?
I was at the train museum in St. Paul. Actually went there and got some work done. We were initially going to start right away on one of our 45-ton switchers. That locomotive has 2 engines on it. They're on front and back, and they have radiator vents that are mechanically open and closed from the cab, and they're not working. So we needed to drop the radiator grills to get in there to see what was going on. But we got retasked right away to clean out one of the maintenance pits in one of the bays. So that was interesting.
Sounds like a party to me.
At least we didn't have to pressure wash it, which initially we were going to have to. That would have been fun. I would have gone home looking like a mud monkey.
I want to give a shout out to Jade Eleanor. She is the host of Spirit Talk with Jade on the Vibe Radio Network, and she'll be coming back to us this October. So excited to have her show back, and she does her show on Sunday nights. So we're gonna have to we're gonna share Sunday nights for the music show. But once she starts, we'll get back on a regular schedule, just doing Tuesdays.
Right.
This show was postponed because my washer decided to stop working, and I had to move all of my stuff to get make room for the people to come repair the washing machine. And they're supposed to come Tuesday morning, and they never did. So yeah, so I had to postpone the show. And Cyn Shrader Hill, who's in the queue right now. Hey Cyn, how you doing? Yeah, she's waving back. She was nice enough to let me move the show till Sunday night, and she's got the Legit Paranormal podcast comes on like an hour before ours does. So I want to check that out. It's
now,
really
is
good.
She on our network or no?
No, she's not, unfortunately.
Okay.
She's not. I mean, she should be, but
right.
She's not. So let me go back what I did yesterday. I went to Pamplin Park, it's like Pamplin National Historical Park. It's a mouthful. And we went we investigated there, a paranormal investigation during tropical storm. First time I've ever investigated during a tropical storm. So that's first for me. We were stationed in different locations. My friend Michael and I were stationed in the museum. So all the pictures I took last night were in the museum. The museum was the farthest point from where the home base was. So we had to walk all the way across the park to get to the museum. So needless to say, we were pretty wet, and then stay there a few hours, and then I think we left around 11:30. We dipped out early. We kind of I didn't see chickened out. That's not the right word. It's not. Michael, I rode with Michael, and he had to get home.
Right.
So, and I wasn't going to be stranded in Pamplin Park. So I was like, when you leave, I'll go. So plus I was tired. It's tough. I just don't have the energy to stay up all night, then drive back from Petersburg, which is like 45 minutes from where I live, and then deal with a 5-year-old after that.
I suppose it's different when you're at the cabin, because you could probably,
just down the street.
You've got a place where you could nip off and have a sleep or something like that.
But when you've had a rough day or a rough night, and you come home and you wake up and you're super. I'm starting to remember why I don't schedule interviews after an investigation. But when you're feeling tired, you feel like you just need something to lift you up. I recommend Dutch soy country candles. Now this candle right here is apple cinnamon. Now I love the smell of fall. I love the smell of apples. And this smells fantastic. Cyn, if you like candles, check out Dutch soy country candles today.
I've got my black teakwood going right now.
That was a pretty good segue, I think.
Right?
Pretty good segue. And plus, guys, it's National Punctuation Day. So why are we even here? We should be out writing paragraphs and punctuating them like the fucking madmen that we are.
Right?
It is. I mean, today's your day. If you love commas, semicolons, colons, periods, question marks, this is your time of year.
Maybe that's why I've been texting in all caps today.
Oh my gosh, man. I'm going to start just writing a novel just so I can punctuate it. Feel the power of the punctuation.
I do have one going, so I could send it your way to do all the work for me.
Oh my God. I'm like the worst punctuator. That's even a word. I don't even know if that's even a thing. I'm making up words over here. The punctuator. See, I'm going loopy.
That would be a great movie.
the next Marvel comic. An excuse to use all the exactly. You can I guess it was capitalization all caps punctuation, or is that just doesn't count as punctuation, does it? It's got to be the period, semicolon, comma. Tell you what, we're having this conversation. We should get Cyn on the air with us. We have this riveting punctuation, the freaking awesome punctuation show here on the Fire Radio Network. Cyn Shrader Hill, she is the co-host of the Legit Paranormal podcast, and she's a founder of Elk Valley Paranormal, and she's an author to boot. So she knows all about punctuation. This is her time of year. Screw Christmas. She doesn't need that shit. She's ready for Punctuation Day. Let's bring her on this joyous holiday. Welcome.
Hey, you guys. Nice to be on. Thanks for having me.
Welcome. And thank you for coming on National Punctuation Day. I know it's a busy time of year for you, so I appreciate you coming on and helping us out tonight.
You are so welcome. I will be doing a lot of that as soon as this show is done.
Are you working on a book?
I am. My 5th one.
Oh man. So what books have you written? What are they are they paranormal books or?
Yes. Self-published. There are 3 true stories, 1 fiction. The true stories, the first 2 ones are taken from my investigations with my team, some of my friends. And then the last one I did is totally different. It's so unlike the first ones that are horror stories, ghost stories and traditional scare, that kind of thing. God just kind of put it in my lap that I needed to write a Signs from Loved Ones book. And that was my fourth one. And I had a few stories, but not a lot. So I reached out to people, just put a blurb out and said, I'm looking for stories of deathbed conversations, signs from your loved ones, dreams, visions of your loved ones, pets coming back to visit you, near-death experiences, all that kind of stuff. I have 50 stories in there. They came from all over. One even came from England. So It was just crazy how that book came together. And so much so that I've already got a sequel, half of it done for next year. It was wild. Yeah. But this next one coming out is the creepier side of some of the things that I've seen.
I'll bet that was really fulfilling. Yeah, being able to write that book and get the people's stories out. I'm gonna turn this. Whoop. Angie. All right, there we go. There we go. All right. Sorry. So, what got you into this? What got you into the paranormal? When did you start really diving deep into this whole lifestyle?
Just back in 2013, honestly. I had strange things happen all my life. Just didn't understand what was going on. I have always loved horror movies, ghost stories, things like that. But we lost my dad in 2001, and they had a hometown business. It was an auto parts business, and it was Dad, my mother, my sister. And so when he died, two women trying to run an auto parts store in a small town in the South with even Walmart selling auto parts, O'Reilly's, Advanced, and AutoZone in the same town, plus mom and pop stores. It was hard. Even though my sister can tell you exactly what you need for your car or truck. She's phenomenal. A year after my dad died, her son was born. She was never supposed to have kids. She was told at a young age she would never have children. And 5 miscarriages later, she got pregnant with Wyatt. And Wyatt came a year after my dad had died. So he kind of weaseled his way into my mom's heart because he was the only grandchild. He was my sister's only child. My nephew, he was my mini-me. And he kept at me the whole time. Aunt Cyn, can I come on investigations? No, not yet, not yet, not yet. When he was old enough, I started training him. But anyway, I basically wanted to see if my dad was still at the old store after it had closed down. And I got a team in from McMinnville, which is about 2 hours north of me. They came down. And everything had been shut off at least 2.5 to 3 years prior to this. So no electricity, no gas, no water, nothing. My husband had even gutted the place, so it was cleaned out. And I was the trigger object, see if Dad was still there. So I basically stood in the dark asking questions. And I only knew what I saw on TV. I wanted a group. I wanted to be involved in a group, but I didn't know how. So this team kind of took me in. The interesting thing about that experience, I never heard anything that night, but their machines, the K2s, the REM pods, anything they had that would light up only lit up the exact spot my dad's chair sat for over 30 years. So I thought that was interesting. And
yeah,
I got bit by the ghost hunting bug big. And they pulled me into their group. I was their case manager. They taught me all the basics. And a little over a year later, I jumped off and formed Elk Valley Paranormal.
So you said you had experiences when you were growing up. What kind of experiences did you have? Do you remember like what happened?
Oh yeah. The first thing I can remember was 6 years old. So I started having deja vu, and I've done this before kind of thing. And I've been here before kind of thing. And I hadn't. I didn't think. And so at 10 years old, I had my first panic attack, which it was devastating, and suffered from those forever and didn't understand them. And at that time, that was 73, back in that time, everybody just said, oh, it's just your stomach, your nerves. That's all. They didn't know about panic attacks. They didn't know how things could affect you. And they sure didn't know about sensitives, which I found out much later that I was one. And I was taking on everybody's energy and having severe panic attacks and didn't know why. So that was a weird thing to find out later on in life. But I'm glad I found it out because now I can control them.
I wonder how many other people have the same problem that
probably
you have, panic attacks and stuff like that, but they can't figure out mentally.
It's funny you bring that up because I feel like I am sensitive to a point. I really can't feed off of everybody's energy, but like if I go into a location, I can figure out whether if it's good or bad vibes, or maybe get like snapshots of what had gone on.
So you are more sensitive than you think you are then.
Mm-hmm.
It just takes practice, when you're dealing with stuff like that. And the more you use it, when you just started your team up in Minnesota, the more you use it, the more it'll probably come into focus, I think.
Yeah, we just started within the last year here, and we haven't gotten together and done anything because we're scattered between Fargo and New York. So.
Oh wow.
But it's hard to get people together.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. So do you live in Elk Valley? It's a cool name, EVP. I like that.
Right. That's
how that works out.
Nice phrase.
Right. Thank you. When I was with that first group, I got really interested in the audio. And so my job soon became finding the electronic voice phenomena. And before I broke off from them, everything around here is named Elk Valley this, Elk Valley that. And I thought, EVP, Elk Valley Paranormal,
why not?
It just works, right?
Right.
So,
everything else is Elk Valley. Why not? Throw in Elk Valley Paranormal too.
Exactly.
So after you started your group, what was the first place that you investigated that, wasn't your family?
It was the old hospital here in town. And we soon became the group that led the public tours there.
That's cool.
Ghost Adventures has also been here. And I don't care for them, but I will tell you that after they came in with a written story made up, after about the third person told them, you don't need a story. All you got to do is go in there. That place is freaking haunted. They finally listened to the third person and went in, threw their script out, and actually did an investigation. It was one of the better shows that they have done, honestly. The only thing I am still up in the air about is when they said they saw a shadow figure in the basement. And I can't agree with that because at that time, especially since they were in town and everybody knew they were in town, it would be kind of hard not to have people walking around that hospital trying to catch a glimpse of them. And in that basement was where the old morgue used to be. So there was a couple of windows in the door at the far end that they saw the shadow figure. Somebody could have easily walked right by there. And that's why I'm saying no on that particular one. On everything else they caught, it was pretty spot on.
Or if you have a perceived notion in your mind when you go into these places, you can actually manifest something.
Absolutely can. And there's always thought forms. If enough people are thinking the same thing, it can happen.
what the Slender Man and the Rake and people,
Yeah.
Things like that.
Exactly. Exactly.
It really makes you wonder how many locations, when they go there, they have the script in hand and they're like, okay, well, come on, your ghost adventures, you can do whatever you want.
Right.
And they just let them do it. And then
I
they do
would
it because
say-
it'll get their popularity up.
Sure. And I would say more often than not, they do.
Mm-hmm.
It would be easy for them to do that. Take a script in, have it, and they would have a show regardless. All they got to throw in is, what was that?
Right.
Did you hear that? What was that?
You may just ruin the ghost adventures for a lot of people because they're like, what?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Well, and the other thing I don't agree with them is they'll go and do rituals at some of these places, and maybe rituals have never been done there before they've done that, and you don't want to mess with that.
No. The one they went to England, and I cannot remember the pub. It was
the Rams. It was the Rams Head Inn.
Rams Head.
Yes.
I remember that one.
Would you have lain down in the floor and have a succubus or incubus? No.
No, thanks.
I mean,
no.
Yeah, no. I mean, I would not have done that. But for part of me, just thinks it was just entertainment. Let's just do this to, we'll say the succubus is here, and then we'll get people to watch us and stuff like that.
Yeah, and people.
Didn't they have some Wiccan come in and do a ritual?
Yep. Yeah, they did. And they sure did. They
had her come into. Zach had her come into his museum.
Really?
Yep, in the basement.
Huh. Did she do a ritual there too?
I think so.
Of course, when that came on, man, I was eating it up. This is because I started out back in 2013 too, so it's like 2009, maybe 2007, early. And I would turn the lights off in the house and build a fire and I was eating it up. And then
absolutely,
once you start doing it yourself, you start noticing things. Like, oh, well, maybe this isn't exactly what I thought.
Right.
Well, I didn't realize that it was set up until about this year. I think I don't know. I don't remember who I was talking to, but it was just like information clean as day. As it's not set up, or it is set up. So.
Well, it's entertainment. That's the thing.
Yeah,
exactly.
They need views. They've been getting views. They've been going for like fucking 10 years, 12 years. It's been they've been around for a long time. So whatever they're doing is working, and it's not for us though.
No,
it's not for us. It is for the people who don't investigate. They just want to watch something, get scared, and then go on with their lives. Not nitpick it like we do.
Exactly.
Are you sure that's guys? Like you said with the person in the basement. It's like, well,
right.
There's people who don't question it. It's like
and take it as gospel. Yeah. They're like, oh my gosh.
Like I've seen points where they'll point out a piece of footage and they're like, well, this looked like an orb, but it was a bug. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, no, that's an orb. That's not a bug.
Yeah, it's like one of those the Wizard of Oz thing. Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain type thing. And I don't want to turn this into a Ghost Adventures bashing show. I mean, it is punctuation day, so we just. But it's like I said, it's for a different audience. It's not for us. You want to watch like a legit paranormal investigation. Watch people like on YouTube who have their channels and they're trying to get their investigations out.
Exactly.
Like the Forgotten Explorations, they do a lot of good stuff, and they're around here. And I'm sure a lot of teams that
different teams,
put YouTube.
And I will tell you that Ghost Adventures, and I'm sure many other ones on TV, go to a location for a few days. They set up the old hospital for 4 days. And that's to put a 45-minute or 40-minute, whatever it is after the commercial show together. So they have to take all of the highlights of things that had happened. And what people don't understand, on a normal investigation, we'll go in, sit in the dark, and hope to hear footsteps or, a door slam or a voice, or, keep our audio recording the whole time, hoping to get an EVP. And sometimes we get nothing. Sometimes we get one thing. Sometimes the night will be popping and it's crazy. And that's what we live for. That's what makes us keep going back.
Yep. Yeah, I can attest to that. Beginning of this year, I worked at a historical site, and every time I opened up for a school tour, I'd go in and I'd set my phone down and record. And I think I only caught one thing, and that was over a matter of months. And I actually sent it to Ryan because I was in a one-room schoolhouse, and we had kids on site for a school tour, but they were on the other side of the property. And I was closing up, and I was talking to the school marm and just saying, thanks for letting us come in here and have your school open. And so I didn't hear anything. I went home and I played it back, and I was like, holy crap, what did I just hear? I sent it to Ryan. I'm like, dude, I didn't front load him. I didn't tell him what I heard. I said, just listen to this and tell me what you heard. And he's like, were there kids right outside the window? I'm like, no, I couldn't even see any kids. And it sounds like they're actually right at the speaker of the device.
Mm-hmm. It's like a bunch of kids playing outside, like on recess or something like that, or maybe walking across the field to another class, or it was so weird. And you said you did have a school group there, but they were all the way like across the whole museum. So they were nowhere near the window, not near enough for me to actually, make out words and stuff. So
and I had the door shut too.
Do you think it was residual?
From what I gathered, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
That's cool, though. That's cool, though. And I know you were so excited when you first heard that.
Yeah. It kind of scared me a little bit, because I was like, what's going on? But I don't work there anymore, but for the years that I worked there, I never got a bad vibe. I always got the good vibe of they were happy that we were doing what we were doing, keeping their memory alive. So,
and that's another thing people need to be aware of. Always trust your gut. If you go into a spot and you get this vibe that is creepy and closing in on you, there's a reason. Something is pushing on you. Something's trying to intimidate you. And then you go into other places and everything is just light as a feather and happy, and it's okay to be in there. We go into those creepy places, and we hope we get something, even though we're being pushed on and intimidated. And a lot of times we do.
You think that's the adrenaline junkie in us?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I run the cabin on 360 here in Mechanicsville, and there's 2 houses on the property, the cabin and the brick house. And each house is different. Like you walk in the cabin, everyone's like, oh, having a good time. Oh, is just so happy. Walk into brick house, it is the opposite. People just get like super like, oh my God, what's it? Everyone that goes in there has the same reaction.
Wow.
There's something off in the brick rancher compared to the cabin. And it is something warning you, like, hey, this is it's not good here. And you feel it as soon as you walk in the door.
Do you know what it is yet?
There's something in the house that it's we've got pictures of it. It is a non-human entity that can affect you, can get into your mind. We've had people. One of my best friends, who's actually the other caretaker with me. He had a New Year's Eve party a few years ago, and we had done some investigating in there. Nothing serious, just kind of joking around. And we came back to the cabin, and we set up a TV and stuff. And my daughter was there. I brought my computer. We're just dancing around, having a good time. And he carries, he just said he had this feeling that took over him, that he wanted to shoot each of us in the head.
Oh,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he went next door, and he went off on the entity that's downstairs, and he started, you don't fuck with me like that. And I go over there because I saw him leave. I saw him because he left in a hurry. I walk over there, and he's cussing at the house. And as soon as he was done, the house growled. I'm like, you okay, man? He's like, yep, I'm good. I'm like, all right. Went back to the house. And so it's one of those things where it doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen. And there was a murder that took place in the house back in the late 70s. There was a young man who raped and murdered his sister. Actually, on October 4th. So the anniversary is coming up.
Really close.
In a few weeks. But yeah, he shot and killed her. He went into a room and she started fighting with him. And so he said he blacked out and shot her twice in the chest. And my grandfather, my family owns the property. My grandfather sent 2 workers to go out there and do some work behind the house. And they found a refrigerator box. They go to move it, and they find her body in the box. And they call my dad. They radio my dad because it's 1979. And he comes up, meets her, and moves her body into the body bag. So, and then fast forward, many years later, and we go out there and investigate, and we catch her voice sometimes, and and there's something in there that's just not good,
Yeah.
But again, you talk about the warning signs.
Does it jump on people and cause them to do things like that? I mean, do you think that's what happened?
I just know that there have been people that I've known for a long time, investigated for a long time, who've fallen on their knees crying because of what thoughts was put in their heads because of what's in that house.
It will oppress you. I haven't been out there yet, but I've watched a lot of the videos, and I've seen I've just got that feeling, like that feeling you described when you walk in there. I was sitting on my chair and I felt that.
Oh, wow. Just watching the video?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. You guys got to protect yourselves, and then before you go, just stay protected, and probably sage after, so it doesn't go home with you.
Yeah, well, that's what I tell people.
His partner, another caretaker, is a pastor.
Yeah, he can bless you.
Always good to have around.
Yep.
Yes. And I tell people, like I told you earlier, it doesn't happen every time. So I'm not going to just guarantee if you come here, you're going to get a breast, because that's not
right.
What happens. It's never happened to me, knock on wood. But of course, I don't walk down. Dennis, he doesn't care. He'll walk down, hey asshole, because he just, that's just how he is.
Right.
They have an understanding, because once he went off on him after he did that thing, they just won't fuck with each other. So he can say, hey asshole.
Yeah.
And,
pretty much every time he walks into the basement, he raps on the door, hey asshole, I'm coming down.
We'll get fucked, Dennis, on the EVP and stuff like that, So
the entity's probably rolling his eyes. His entity's just down there going, "Oh, here he comes again."
And I will say this: I talked to one of the one of the girls who knew Melissa. That was the young girl's name, who was a friend with hers, and she was actually gonna spend the night that Friday night that she got killed. She said,
wow.
yeah, she said that her brother spent a lot of time in the basement, and when he would come upstairs and he would just be really pissed off, and they call him up for dinner, he'd come upstairs, eat his food, and slam his dishes in the sink, and walk back downstairs again. I don't know if it was like a man cave thing set up down there, because there's nothing down there now, obviously.
Yeah.
But you know, Lexi Warfield here, Lexi, she was there. She came out and took a picture, and there's this weird face in the window of her brother's room. It almost looks like a smiling, like Joker devil looking thing.
Ooh. Do you think it's the land? Do you think it's something that he brought in? Because it could be either.
The land is the site of a Civil War battle too, so there's a lot of death on the land already.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like it's feeding off of each other.
Could be. Could very well be.
I want to get this in the Cabin on 360 episode, because I would do that later. I'll do that on your show. I'll come on Legit Paranormal Podcast. We'll talk about the Cabin on 360. This is about you. I want to know, what is your like, you're talking about CR's first EVP. What was your first EVP that you caught was like, holy crap, this is actually real?
Yeah, the very first one I caught was at the old hospital. It was on an afternoon, like 3 p.m. So no matter what people tell you, tell your listeners, ghosts don't care what time it is. They're out all the time. It just doesn't matter. So this was like 3:30 p.m, and it was the clearest "get out" I've ever heard. It was a female, and she did not want me there. Get out.
Was it in like a
classic EVP right there?
Was it in a hospital room? Was it in like an exam room, or?
It was in the hallway. I was just minding my own business going. We were actually cleaning, trying to get the place ready for public hunts. And this was when I was with that first group, Ghost Hunters of Southern Tennessee. And we were actually cleaning up the hospital for public hunts. And I was just walking down the hallway to either get more paper towels or something to clean with, and then go back and do some more, and get out is what I had. I also saw a shadow figure that same afternoon, but it was not human. It was like people call the hellhounds. It was a black dog.
Mm-hmm.
And it went from one side to the other right in front of me. So whether or not it was a dog or was shape shifting into a dog just to creep us out, because they knew we would go, ooh, hellhound,
right?
That kind of thing. You never know, because they can change into whatever they want us to see them as.
Were you the only one in the hallway, and were you the only one that saw that?
I was with someone walking, but she didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
I said, did you just see that shadow? And she goes, no, I missed it. I went, oh, and it was a dog, and it went right across. And no, she didn't see it. And I was by myself when I got that EVP.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this relates to what you're talking about, but I'm going back to the cabin. I have to go back. I'm getting back in my go back again. We had Sean Austin come out from 28 Days Haunted. He came out to investigate like 4 or 5 years ago, and there was this big wolf spider downstairs in the basement. Right, it was huge. It was on like one of those plugs. I got one of the things plug in the wall. The outlets.
Yeah,
that's where.
Yeah.
Thank you. He was on outlet, and it actually covered the outlet. It was so big, and he was like, "Oh, fuck this."
Oh,
I would rather mess with demons than mess with spiders. So he's definitely scared of spiders. So he's downstairs in the basement, and he has an SLS camera going. And there was this entity came on. The stick figure came on. It proceeded to morph into a giant spider.
No.
On the screen.
No.
I'm gone.
He told Dennis that he almost shit all over our basement. He was like, he couldn't get out there fast enough.
Yeah,
He
no.
was. I was like, so yeah, it kind of goes along with what you were saying about them morphing into different things to scare you.
And it shows how they play on your fears too.
Yes, yes.
They heard that he said they heard that Jesus play with your mind like you did with Dennis, and
Uh-huh.
and you know, one of the guys who came over and investigated, he had his family there, and he wanted to hurt his family, you know. And if you think about just if you're constantly there in an environment, anywhere, not just a cabin, but anywhere, it's constantly just putting stuff in your head, man. It's tough, you know. And see, El Gwen is in the chat, and he's going to be coming on the show on Tuesday night. He's an exorcist and a demonologist, so I'll have to talk to him about some of this stuff and, you know, get his opinions on stuff. But so what would you recommend to somebody who is first, you know, starting out investigating, like, to avoid dealing with that kind of stuff?
Know who you're with. Have somebody that knows at least the property that you're going on, so you don't walk into an unsafe space. Maybe the floor is getting ready to fall in on one side and they would know it. Make sure that you have permission, obviously, from the owner of the property. Make sure that you have fresh batteries in all of your equipment and have spare batteries to put in, because they will drain if there is
sometimes
something.
Fresh batteries don't matter, because that happened before.
Right? I've had to change them like 3 times before. It's just like, what is going on? Make sure that you're safe and protected. If you're a Christian, say a prayer before you go, opening and closing, because you have to do a closing no matter what you're doing. And I'll explain that in just a second. But if you're not a Christian, white light yourself. You can do that by meditation. You can do that by taking just a little pinch of salt and swallowing it. You can take a little pinch of salt, throw it in your shower, white light yourself for a few minutes, anything like that, to put a protective bubble around you. And no matter what you do on the investigation, stay together. Don't go off by yourself. And never investigate by yourself. Never go somewhere by yourself in a haunted property or anywhere. But whenever you open conversation with spirit, no matter what you're using, it can be the spirit box, it could be pendulum, it could be your copper rods. You can just be speaking out into the room, just using your voice and nothing else, but recording it with camera and audio. Anytime you open conversation with spirit, make sure you close it like a Ouija board. Say goodbye.
Yeah.
That way they know
don't do that.
It's over. Yeah.
Yeah. They just think, oh, you know, I'm close a Ouija board. I don't have to worry about closing. They don't think about closing an EVP session.
Right? No.
They just think, well, I'll just tell them not to come with me. I don't have to worry about doing that. But it's just like,
no.
Locking each door behind you. You know,
that's what I try to convince everybody. Everything that you're using is a Ouija board. Ouija boards are getting bad raps. And yeah, a lot of bad things have happened with them, but it's because people report it more, I think. And there's those movies out about it. And yeah, I watch them too, because I love horror movies. But everything is a Ouija board when you think about it. So every conversation, make sure you close it.
It'd be tough to do like a movie called Digital Recorder, and then you know, people are like, oh my gosh, you know.
Right.
Well, it's like when I volunteered at Dakota City, I was the grounds guy. So every morning before an event, I'd come out and I'd unlock the set of buildings that we'd have unlocked. And every building, no matter if I had been doing this for a week or if this was the first day of the week, every building I would unlock. And before I step foot, good morning, how you doing? You know, we've got a school group coming through today. We're going to be closed at this time. And then on the other end of that, is when I was closing up for the days, going, pulling the flags down, locking up. Hey, thanks for letting us come out here. You know, if we're going to have another tour, say, well, I'm going to be back tomorrow. See you at this time. And there was one time where, like, I didn't say my goodbye, thanks for doing this right away when I walked in, and they were walking back and forth upstairs. I was like, okay, so, you know,
I better say it.
They're a little miffed, so I better say my goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, it's just a polite way to interact with them instead of going in and saying, "Who are you? You know, why are you here?" Just, you know, all of those blatant questions. But a lot of them, not all of them, but many, many, many of the spirits that we encounter have been people. They were people. You know, there's some that are non-human, yeah, but there's a lot of people spirits out there, and they like to be spoken to. I had one here at the house, and I knew somebody was here, but I didn't know who it was. We had actually brought her back from vacation and didn't know it.
Oh.
And a couple of things have happened on a vacation with me, but I actually brought this one back and didn't know it. I got sick on vacation, and we went through Pennsylvania, stopped at Valley Forge, and I was starting to feel a little better at Valley Forge. By the time we got to Philly, I was fine. And we got to do the tourism stuff. We got to eat a chili cheesesteak, you know, all that kind of stuff. And went down through Shenandoah National Park, and then came all the way back through Tennessee to Middle Tennessee. And I live just 30 minutes north of Huntsville, Alabama. So to give somebody kind of like bearings on where I am. But we had been back a couple of days, and I knew I was hearing rustling and not seeing anything. So I got my equipment out and asked a few questions and found out that I had a nurse from the Valley Forge area. Oh. She was actually a nurse that worked on the soldiers there and helped them, knew I was sick, latched onto me to help me feel better, and came all the way back home with me. And funny enough, we had a ghost cat at the time. And the ghost cat would jump up on the end of the bed, turn around, and then get comfy. And when she finally left, the ghost cat left as well. So they kind of got to be buddies, and I think that's sweet. They went away together. So somewhere is the nurse and the ghost cat, probably back at the Valley Forge area.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, my son is has an upset stomach.
Oh, that's no good.
No. So he's been having a rough time these past few days. So I want to, before we go, and we'll have you back on. We have so much more I want to talk to you about.
Sure.
Went by fast.
They always do.
I want to talk about your books. How do people get them? Are they on Amazon? How can people find them?
There are. You can look up Cyn Shrader Hill author. I'm on Facebook. I'm on all kinds of stuff. You can email me at cynshaderhill@gmail.com. My books are on Amazon. I am self-published. There's 4 right now, about to be 5 as soon as I can get it done before Halloween. And shoot me a line. Let me know what you think about them.
Definitely.
I'll definitely have to look into them.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, just crying and stuff. Because you want to, take care of what's going on.
Of course, absolutely.
I have to cut this one a little bit short. Well, not that short. It's only like 6 minutes, so it's not like it's like a half hour or whatever. But I want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem.
Again, there's so much more I'd like to talk to you about, and I'd love to have you back on the show. And
I'd love to come.
We'll, and I'd love to come on the Legit Paranormal podcast.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. You're gonna have to.
Definitely. That'd be a lot of fun. I appreciate it. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it. And I will talk to you soon.
Okay.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Good night.
See you guys later.
Bye. Well, guys, thank you for watching. We'll be back here Tuesday night. Same freaking awesome time. Same freaking awesome channel. I'm going to go help take care of RJ. I'll see you guys Tuesday night. Have a good one. Bye.